Hello, I'm Adrian Lifely. I've worked as a commercial disputes lawyer in London for the past 30 years, and I'm an accredited mediator. This is my second video about the Singapore Mediation Convention. If you don't know what this convention is, I recommend you watch my first video in this series before watching this one. If you watch the first video, you will know that the Singapore Mediation Convention applies to settlements of international commercial disputes reached after a mediation. I have 3 points to make about the enforcement system under the Singapore Mediation Convention. Firstly, the enforcement scheme is very similar to the New York Convention, which regulates the international enforcement of arbitral awards. It's a very streamlined process with only limited grounds for objecting to enforcement. All you need do to enforce a settlement agreement under the Convention is register the settlement in the courts of the country where enforcement is sought. This will be where your counterparty's assets are located. You can then use the mechanisms available in that country's courts to enforce payment against the assets. You therefore only need to go to court once in the country where the assets are. You don't need to go to court first in the courts with jurisdiction over the settlement. Secondly, expect the Singapore Mediation Convention to lead to better and more consistent mediation practice. I say this because one of the few grounds for refusing enforcement is where there has been a serious breach by the mediator of applicable standards, or there are justifiable doubts about the mediator's impartiality or independence. Inevitably, therefore, matters concerning the fairness of mediations will come under the spotlight, with everyone involved in mediations checking that best practice is adhered to. Lastly, expect international parties to conduct their settlement negotiations within the framework of a mediation. This is because parties to cross-border commercial disputes will want to have the benefit of enforcement under the Convention, and the enforcement provisions are only triggered where there has been a mediation. You therefore need to remember to mediate your international disputes so that you can easily compel performance of the settlement under the Singapore Mediation Convention. As always, please take legal advice before reaching any decisions.